Hey everybody, Don Georgievich here with Job Interview Tools, and today I want to talk to you about your resume, and more importantly, what your resume should look like. How does it look to employers? How does it appeal to employers? What do they think of it? Now, I can tell you, if they're not calling you back for job interviews, they don't think very much of it. It's as simple as that. You're not connecting with employers. Now, I just got an email from a guy. He says, "Hey, Don, I've sent out 1,000 resumes in the last year and not one single phone call. What am I doing wrong?" Well, I'll tell you, the first thing you're doing wrong is you waited too long. You can't just send out 1,000 resumes and then decide a year later that, maybe I'm doing something wrong. You need to know a lot faster. You need to know within a few weeks, and you can. If you send out maybe 50 resumes in a month, which is a lot. That's just too many. You should really only send out about 10. But let's just say you sent out 50 in a month and you got zero response. That should tell you right there that you're not connecting. They don't like what they see. You're not connecting with that employer. So how do you connect with them? What do you do? Well, I'll tell you. The key lies in the job description. But what most people do is they just take the resume, they write one resume, and they send that same resume out to every single employer. They don't make any changes to it. Maybe they'll change the cover letter and just change the name of the company, but that's it. They keep sending the same resume out over and over and over again. And that's the worst thing you can do. And that's why it makes it so easy to apply to maybe 100 jobs in a month, because you're just taking one resume, you're taking this one resume you have, and you're sending it out to 100 people. It's easy to hit, click send, click send, click send. But that's the worst thing you can do. What you need to do is to carefully look at each job that you apply for. You need to print off the job description. That's right. You need to print it off, put it on paper, and then go through it line by line and find what they're looking for. Look for the key areas, look for the skills they're looking for, the experience, the competencies. And then put your resume right next to that job description. And when they're looking for leadership, can you draw a line on your resume from leadership over to that job description? So when they're looking for a specific skill, you need to be able to take that skill on that job description and draw a line over to where it exists on your resume. And you need to do that for each of the key areas that they are looking for. If you can't do that, then you need to rewrite your experience so that it is a match for the job description. Now, if you do that for each job that you apply to, I can tell you right now, there's no way you'll have the time to apply to 100 jobs in a month or 1,000 in a year like this other guy did. You simply won't have the time because it takes effort. It takes time and effort to apply to each job posting. You have to put effort into it. It might take 1 to 2 hours to legitimately apply for a job posting. And you can't apply to every possible job that comes through. You can't just look at it and say, well, I think I can do that, I'll apply. Yeah, I think I can do that, I'll apply. That doesn't work. You need to be a laser-targeted exact match for what they're looking for. If you're anything less than that, don't even waste your time. Because what's going to happen is you're going to apply to all these jobs that are just kind of maybes. And then what that does is when you don't hear back, that lowers your confidence. And it makes it harder to apply for the next job because you're thinking to yourself, well, we just applied to 100 jobs last week. We got no response. Why do we want to keep applying to more jobs? All it does is hurt us. And that's right. The more jobs you apply to and the less response you get, the more it hurts you. It hurts how you feel about yourself. And that's no good. You want to feel good about yourself. You want to be able to send out a job, you want to be able to apply to a job and send out your resume and get a response back. And that makes you feel good when you get that call for the interview. And then now, even if you don't get the job, it doesn't matter. At least you're getting telephone calls or responses off of your resume. That's what you want. That starts the momentum. If you have no momentum, if you just keep sending out resumes all the time and you get no feedback on that, nobody's calling you, that hurts us inside and that inhibits us to continue our job search. We just kind of feel bummed out about ourselves. And I don't want you to feel bummed out about yourself. And I know you don't either. So the next time you are ready to apply for a job, take a careful look at that job description and make sure that you are a super A+ match to it. And then make sure that your resume is a reflection of what that job description is. And I guarantee you this. I guarantee if you apply to 10 jobs where you have taken the time to manicure your resume and make it fit, make it match what that job description is, I guarantee you're going to hear back more than 50 or 60% of the time. You are going to get the phone call. They're going to call you up and they're going to want to schedule a phone interview. Sure, there'll be another 30, 40% of the resumes where you won't hear back, and there's all kinds of reasons for that. Employers like to post jobs and not have interviews. They like to just test the market and see what's out there. They have all kinds of crazy reasons. But 50 to 60% of the time, if you are a match for what they're looking for, you will get the phone call. I guarantee it. Now, I'll tell you, here's another thing. Here's another thing that people do that doesn't really benefit them. They have someone else write the resume. That's right. They hire somebody else, maybe for $100 or $200, to write the resume. And I'll tell you right now, that's usually the worst thing you can do. Nothing against the resume writers, but they don't know you like you know you. And they don't put that much effort into writing your resume. They basically take your experience and they just kind of massage it a little bit and throw it on a piece of paper and say, here you go. It's a resume. And that's the worst thing you can do. Now, granted, there are some really, really good resume writers out there. Now, if you're not spending maybe $500 to $700 to have your resume written, you're probably not getting an experienced professional who really knows what they're doing. But all that aside, you really should write your resume yourself, because only you can convey the passion that's inside of you and put that on paper. When you hand that responsibility off to someone else who does not know you, they're just going to give you a generic resume with your experience on it. And that's not what you want. You want to convey emotion and feeling and experience and excitement on your resume. And only you can do that. And I'll tell you this, here's another thing. Here's another reason why you should write your resume yourself. You see, when you have someone else write it, and then when it comes time to make some changes to it, to make it model a different job, you're the worst person to make the changes because you didn't write your resume in the first place. So now you're taking what somebody else wrote and then you just send that out to everybody. And that's the worst thing you can do. And so now when it comes time to apply for another job, since you didn't write your resume in the first place, you're not very in tune with being able to rewrite it, to massage it, to make it fit another job description. But when you write it yourself, when you write your resume yourself, now you're in a much better, stronger position to go through it and to make it match another job description. And then after you make it match one job description and you apply for another job, you make it match another. That's how successful job seekers win jobs. It all starts with your resume. And you can do it too. It's not that hard. You just have to put the initial effort into it. Once you spend a couple hours working on your resume and writing it, you'll get better at it. Sure, it'll be awkward and it'll feel uncomfortable at first, but as you go through the process, you'll get better and better and better. Now I wrote my resume over 100 times when I looked for jobs. Over maybe even 200. I don't even know. I was always making changes. Every time I would apply to a new job, I'd make a couple of changes every time. And all those were just little building blocks. They just kept building on each other, and my resume kept getting better, stronger, and more aligned with what employers were looking for. And then it actually got to the point where I hardly had to make any changes for any job that I sent it out to. I mean, usually by that point I was hired, but I'm talking about like for the next job, maybe a couple years later when I started interviewing again. But every time you make a little change, it's a building block in your resume. It gets better and stronger better and stronger, and it becomes more relevant to what employers are looking for. All right, my friend? I hope this helps you. I hope this helps you make your resume a little bit better and stronger now that you know how to aim it a little bit and that you have a benchmark for when you should make changes or when your resume isn't working. Like if you're waiting a year, to decide your resume isn't working, you've waited way too long. You should no more than a month. If you don't get any responses in a month, your resume isn't working. It's not connecting with employers. You need to make changes. That's a message that employers are sending you. By not calling you, that's a silent message that employers are sending you that your resume is not up to par with what they're looking for. Now, to help you go further in this process, I've got a great guide. It's called the Resume Masterpiece. Now, this book's been around for about 10 years. It will walk you through in detail how to write your resume. If you already have a resume, it'll show you how to make it better. It'll show you how to write strong work experience statements, strong accomplishment statements. It has a whole section on just power words and adverbs that you can use to make your work experience statements stronger so that they stand out. And it's got tons of examples. It's got over 100 different resumes from 20 different professions in it. So whether you're an accountant, you're a government worker, you're in healthcare, you're a teacher, you're in engineering, you're in finance, it doesn't matter. This guide covers every possible different occupation. Though I'll tell you, I don't go into the medical field. I don't have any sample medical resumes, but that's really about the only one. I think I've got everything else. So this guide is going to walk you through. It's going to teach you how to write a good heading. It's going to teach you how to write an accomplishment section. It's going to teach you how to write your work experience, how to lay it out. And it's going to teach you how to overcome any kind of work experience gaps that you have. Maybe you have a 2-year gap in there. It'll teach you how to mask that so that it's not as obvious to employers. It'll teach you how to write a volunteer section. It'll teach you how to write your education section. It covers everything from start to finish on your resume. So whether you already have a resume, it'll show you how to make it better. If you don't have one at all, it'll show you how to build one from scratch. It's a great guide. It's available. You can get it in hard copy, just like this book right here. I'll send that out to you. It's also available in ebook format. It's the most popular format. It's a quick download that you can get from jobinterviewtools.com, and I'll put a link for that guide right under this video, and you can go check it out. Just go check it out, download it, and see if it helps you. If it doesn't help you, give your money back. No big deal. All right? So I hope this helps you today. I hope this helps you go a little bit farther and to understand what's going on in the resume process. So good luck in your next interview, and I will see you in the next video. Bye now. If you found this video helpful, then give it a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to my channel so you get notifications every time I release a new video. And by subscribing, you support me, my message, and this channel, so I'd really appreciate it. Make sure you hit subscribe.